CaneSport TV. We're here with John Ruiz, who everybody's familiar with now because he's the guy that's going to build the future stadium for Miami football, no matter what anybody says or what barriers they try to put in his way. So John, we just wanted the fans to get to know you a little bit and understand who you are and why Miami football has become your passion here recently. So you went to the University of Miami, correct?
So I'm born and raised in Miami. I went to the University of Miami from 1984 through 1987. When I went there, you had that Canes team that had that swag. They won the championship in 1983 with Schnellenberger, and then Jimmy Johnson came in. And I watched every game. You know, that was the thing to do when you were a student there. And it was super exciting in the Orange Bowl. You had, Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback, Michael Irving, which everybody knows now because he ended up playing in the NFL, Hall of Famer, Melvin Bratton, Alonzo Highsmith, J.C. Penney running back the kicks. That's when Deion Sanders was also playing at FSU. And I'll tell you something kind of funny or maybe somewhat ironic. So the first game I ever go to the University of Miami, new experience for me. You get out of high school, you've never experienced that. And I go and the UM kicks the ball off. And there's two players in the back, waiting to receive the ball. I don't know who any of them are. I'm 17 years old, first time ever to a college football game. And the guy all the way on the left side of the field catches the ball, and he throws it all the way to the other side. And the guy who gets the ball is Deion Sanders, and he raced all the way down the sideline, and it was like, everything was like super emotional, and then that's when I got my kind of feet wet in that excitement. So I left there in 87. Fast forward, I have three kids. My son Johnny, which is the oldest of the three, played baseball for UM for 4 years, and I traveled with the team everywhere. But my son Johnny was always going to the baseball camp since he was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. He's now 27, so that's 20 years in the making. Then my daughter Christy, who's now in UM Law School and graduates in May, was a sensation. She was dancing for the baseball team, the soccer teams, the football teams, and then my third, which is Alex, also played at the University of Miami. We've always been involved with the University of Miami. We've always contributed. But obviously now, because of a different financial level that we have, is why people may think, you just came out of the woodworks. It's not that I came out of the woodworks, it's that we were able to do very well financially, and now's when we're able to do, major things and contributions like we couldn't do before financially.
So you've always been a successful businessman in the community, and you had success.
Yes.
But recently, what you're saying is, your level of success went much higher, and that's enabling you to maybe do some of the things that you would have liked to do through all the years.
Right. So in 2014, I started a company called MSP, and I've designed some very revolutionary technology. The latest one saves lives, which is basically a platform where individuals can store all of their medical records, and if they wanted to add their DNA, and when they have any medical emergency, the EMS has all of your information. Right now, that doesn't exist. EMS goes to, to the location wherever you're at, whether it's a car accident, a slip and fall at your house. They know nothing about you. This revolutionizes medicine as far as the three major components. Doctors are looking at what's your past medical history and condition, and what is it that you're experiencing now, and what should we do for you? The two latter facets of it are already there. What are you experiencing now? What can you do for it? They don't have the prior information, which is some of the most critical and important information. I also designed a system to recover monies that the government pays in property. And as a result of that, after many years of work, the company was announced as entering into a $32.6 billion merger and acquisition with a public company, which would essentially, since I own 70% of it, the numbers turn out to be 20-something billion dollars. And that's just what we announced at that point in time. There are a lot of other revolutionary things that we're putting together. And because all three of my kids graduated already from UM, They're actually involved in the business. They're helping. And we all have a passion for UM. And because of everything that happened also, right? So it's also, UM has had a substantial downfall in terms of the football team and even somewhat the baseball team. So my son Johnny was in the first baseball team that didn't make the playoffs in 20-something years. And as a result of that, I realized that it was important to give back. So that's why people are seeing what's happening now.
Have you gone to football games all these years? You know, you talked about the 80s, but have you been going since then?
Yeah, we have. We're regular season ticket holders, and we go all the time. But again, the truth of the matter is that the stadium's far away, and if it isn't a good game or if your team's winning, sometimes you just find a kind of like an excuse and you watch it on TV. We got to bring that back. We have a great university. And the football team is probably the anchor of why kids come to the University of Miami or to any college. You want that college experience. So what you're doing basically is when you're going to the university, you want all these experiences to take with you for the rest of your life, and this is one of the key components of it.
So all these years, it's been a long time since you started going to games, and obviously the program has not been doing as well.
Right.
Did that register with you a little bit as well? Like, we've got to get this program back to what
100%.
Yeah.
Not just for sports, but I think, I've been very fortunate and lucky, but at the same time, I've been an innovator always, and I've learned through the course of the MSP business that what I know about data and medicine and law is a lot more than what a lot of people know in the country. And not to sound conceited, but it's just because of experiences. I think I know more about that than anybody in the country. So nobody can copy my systems, but that's registered to being able to do a lot of things in other places. I've also had production companies, so I know about audio and visual and TV and marketing. I used to air sporting activities for youth sporting games. I've aired things for the Florida High School Athletic Association. So I have a lot of experience in that area. And because of that, I think that we are the perfect fit for the situation that the university found itself in. And luckily, I think we've done a lot, collectively, with the fans. The fans are fantastic. There's a lot of support by the fans. That's one of the things that surprised me the most, how valuable the team is to the people. We formed a committee. In the committee, we have a substantial number of very recognizable names. My personal favorite is Jimmy Johnson because he was, the coach when I was at the University of Miami. But we have, Alonzo Highsmith, we have DJ Williams, we have another one which is a favorite of mine, which is Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell from the Two Live Crew, which is very supportive of the university. But I also was in law school when he was involved in the process of, the First Amendment. So these are people that resonate with me and go far back, and that I could teach my kids what this history of football, sports is all about.
So you look at University of Miami, we'll just say football for now. Obviously there's other sports, but there's so many needs. The program's been run on a shoestring for so long. They've fallen behind everybody in college football. The facilities aren't great. It can definitely be improved. What made you sink your feet into a stadium?
I just think it's the one key component and thing that not only the university needs, but the community needs. It brings people together. When you see 50,000 people cheering for the same team, it doesn't matter what political affiliation you have, it doesn't matter what your profession is, nothing else matters. Because even people that you've had issues with in your life or you may disagree with on whatever philosophical point there is, at that one moment, for that game, you're all going for the same and rooting for the same team, right? So it brings cohesiveness. I also think it's great for the economy. I think it's great to keep people out of trouble because there's things to do. They're participating. I think it's great for the athletes. I think it's great for the school. I think it's great for the education of the athletes. And you're bringing life to the city of Coral Gables / city of Miami, Dade County. If you look at every other activity that exists in the world, whether it's Formula One, whether it's soccer, whether it's a concert, whether it's ultra, whatever the activity there is. What are they trying to do? They're trying to bring activities to generate and promote the local economies, right? So this is exactly what that is. And then you have some opposition because it's going to create a lot of traffic. Well, how many games are there? And I always say, everything in life is a balancing effect. What's the balancing effect? You're going to have traffic for 6 games, 7 games, and then what's the upside? You have continuation of people, renting at hotels, restaurants flourishing, stores selling, just tourism in general. Because a lot of people come from other places to come see. And a lot of people graduate from UM and they will fly back and come back to watch the games, especially if it's a great team. So I think there's a lot of positiveness to that.
So you kind of shocked everybody at first. I'm going to build the stadium. And then when you said Bird Road and Lejeune,
right.
I think everybody just really lost their minds.
Right.
Was that for shock value, or were you serious that you really want to build a stadium at Bird and Lejeune?
No, I think that it's a great location. It's 25 acres. I don't know if people realize that there aren't 25 acres in a lot of places. I also think that Coral Gables Senior High would benefit substantially if that's the location where it could go, because the school could be improved, the students could participate. There's nothing that we've said that isn't a positive for whether it's the city, the community, the students, the schools, the athletes, the university. Everything is a positive. There's nothing negative about making a school better and making their fields better and providing better infrastructure, better fiber optics, better classrooms, better ventilation. There's a lot of issues with old structures. So, no, I just think people jump the gun a lot of times, and they just like somewhat of an opposition to whatever you say. You're never going to make everybody happy. I know there was a petition circulating that had maybe about 3,000 names that I heard, but there was one that had over 10,000 names. I will tell you that from what we've gathered through Twitter and other social media and people calling me and emailing me, we have like 95% support for purposes of a stadium.
So let's say, are you planning to build this yourself? Are you planning to fund the entire project if you can find land?
Right. So that's all a function of, do we have to make a deal with the city? Do I have to make a deal with the county? Who else is involved? We've gotten approached, and I've signed confidential documentation. There's a lot of support by a lot of companies that want naming rights and a bunch of other things. So generally speaking, what I can say is we don't need taxpayer support. So how we come up with it, the straight answer is, our family has the money to do it on our own. The question is, where is it going to be? What is the protocol? What other potential activities could there be at a stadium like this? You don't want to have a stadium and use it 6 days out of 365 days. That's not the way that the economy works in terms of that. You're going to have to find other uses for it.
Has there been any thought to Tropical Park?
Yes.
Yeah.
We flew in a helicopter, my son, Alex, and myself, just because the other one's going to make it. And we flew around the entire county. And Tropical Park is a very good location. It's big. It has good arteries leading up to it. So it is a very attractive location. But I think Tropical Park, as opposed to some of the other locations, would benefit, and because of the size of it, from other adjacent attributes to it. We're looking at that not just for a football stadium. It'll be a football stadium, but perhaps other facilities for U of sports as well, or just sports in general. And then it becomes a bigger project with the county and the community. But the direct answer is yes, it's a very good location.
Have you had a chance to speak to anybody at the county to see if there's any county receptiveness?
So what we're doing, and I'm not going to take credit myself personally, my 2 boys, Johnny and Alex, are very, very involved in reviewing everything from an architectural point of view and going out and we're hiring, several companies to give us designs. And not until we do that do we then go to governmental officials, because you got to have something with you to show them. So I'm just not going to go and provide them with the concepts until they're fully formulated.
So you got some stuff.
Yeah.
Substance.
So when they see it, they want to look at stuff. We're studying, the arteries that get to it, where it's located, why it's feasible, what we think should be done with it. We're going to do studies in terms of budgets, in terms of how it affects the economy. There's a lot of studies that go into it.
Have you spoken to anybody at the university about it yet?
I have. I'm not at liberty to say the details of it because I think, like I've said before, if I do something on my own, I'll say it. But when it involves other people, what I will tell you is, I've obviously graduated from UM. I'm a big supporter of the University of Miami. We support the baseball team also. We have a suite at the baseball field. Like I said, my kids played there. Yes, we have had conversations. The extent of those conversations, I don't want to reveal yet because there's a lot of things going on, including donations that we're making, and that's not public, the amounts and how that's going to unfold. But I think it's very exciting, everything that's happening.
The bottom line is you're getting involved in other areas also.
Absolutely.
Golden Canes, with football.
From top to bottom.
Let's talk about your relationship with Mario Cristobal. I guess he's a relative in some way, shape, or form.
He is related to my children's mother,
Wow.
Myra Ruiz. But that didn't really play a role. I mean, at the end of the day, Mario is his own person. He's an amazing individual. He's got that firepower. I love him. Forgetting about what relationship there is, at the end of the day, you can't hire somebody because they got a relationship with you. You got to hire the real deal, and the guy's the real deal. And you're seeing just players gravitating towards that. There's this excitement, right? This buzz of I want to be there. I want to be at that game. I came up with a slogan maybe about a month ago. It's called "The Time Is Now." And ironically, without knowing, he said at the press conference, "The time is now," and the time is now.
Were you involved, the Moss brothers, and
I know the Moss brothers,
and
yes.
some of the people that were involved in bringing Mario here? Were you involved at all in any of that?
All I will say is that I know everybody.